Hello, darlings. Welcome to another bag tutorial. It's been a while. Hope you've been good. So today we're going to be using 3 colors for the bag, as someone requested for that. I'm trying as much as to incorporate all your demands into one video. So someone also requested that we use pearls as a handle, so we use that one too. As usual, we use 0.7 as our beading thread. So the colors I'll be using it's red, blue, and then ice. Okay, because that bag in particular had someone's order, so why not just make a tutorial of it. So I already did half of it off camera, so we'll just do the other half together, and then once we're done, we'll just join it on camera together. Okay, I'm trying as much as I can to make the video shorter for you, but then you guys complain about it being too fast, and if I don't make it that fast, it's going to take hours, and then nobody's going to be on YouTube watching the tutorial for hours. So yeah, cut your thread as long as you can handle, because if it's short, you might have to be joining it, and if it's too long, it's going to be tangling up. So remember to cut your thread as long as you can handle. The process we're using again is the 4-bead flower process. Okay, so we're going to be using 4 beads this way. So every side of your thread takes 1 bead like this, and then when you use one to crisscross. I think I have to do a detailed tutorial on how to make the 4-bead flower, because almost everything, almost like 80% of beading goes with that process, especially with bags. So I feel like I have to make a detailed tutorial, because until then others won't be able to do this. So yeah, and then I feel like once I keep talking, you get distracted, because once I watch tutorials, I usually mute it and then just watch. So I'm just going to keep quiet when I can. Okay, so this is how we want it, right? Okay, so the red, this is how you begin with your red. The red starts 4 chains in. Oh, this is how to explain than I thought. Okay, so I'm just going to show you instead. And I'm sorry if my hand is blocking the way. I still haven't gotten an overhead tripod, and it's hard filming this way without my hand blocking it. I'm sorry about that. I'm working towards getting one very soon. So if you have a question, you can just ask me in the comment section. I'll try as much as I can to answer every question you guys have, because I feel like explaining it here, wait, you guys not seeing it very well and all, it's going to be a bit hard. It is not a bit hard, it's actually hard, very hard. So if it's getting in your way, you just pick something heavy and put on it. This is what I just did. I just picked my bead bottle and then kept it on it to hold it in place. But it looks like even that is not heavy enough to hold it. Sugar beads are very slippery. So you remember, you have to pull your thread very tight. Okay, pull it very tight. So I have some ladies I'm teaching beading, and then one's fear is that the thread might cut her. It won't cut you, darling. Just pull it as hard as you can. Make sure it's very tight, because if it isn't, your bag is going to be very loose. It's not going to be how do I say it, firm enough, so it won't look nice. Okay, the shape won't come out how you want it. So make sure you pull your thread very hard so that it's very tight and very firm. Okay, so this is how it's going. So what I'm doing right now is what we call the chain. So we're making a chain, right? That's our base. So this is the chain. So 4 chains in, then you put your red. 2 chains in, you join your blue. 2 chains out, you join your red, and then 4 chains in, then you will have to turn. Now this is how you usually will end your chain, right? Now this is why the turning is hard for you. So we've gotten our chain of complete beads. Now this is how our thread looks like. So you can either go down this way and choose a sideways bead like this. Now once you choose your sideways bead, you will need both threads to be in the same bead. So you have to send this one all the way around to get it through the same bead. Remember, if your thread is showing in between beads, then you kept it in the wrong bead. Okay, your thread is not supposed to be visible in between beads. So you can do it this way, right? Which is quite complicated for beginners. You can also just do it this way. Before you get to the end of your beads, put 2 beads in one, and then use one to crisscross. Instead of putting one in each and using one to crisscross, put 2 beads in one thread, and then use 1 bead to crisscross both threads. That way it automatically turns your work for you. See? Now once it's turned, remember your middle line of the chain, okay, and the other side of it where the thread is, you don't touch those two. You see the middle line and the opposite side of where your thread is, you don't touch them. So now you're going to be working along the line of where your thread is. So we assume we already have 1 bead, so we'll add 2 to the other thread, and then use 1 to crisscross, and then we'll get 4. Oh gosh, I'm so sorry. Okay, let's do this again. Now you put your thread in this way, right? So the opposite side, so we assume this thread already has 1 bead, right? So the opposite side has no bead, so we'll put 1 in it and then use 1 to crisscross to make it 4 this way, right? So now 4, we need we already have 1 now on the top of the 4, so, and we need 3 more to make it 4. So this one goes into this one, adding up to make what? 2, right? So now we have 2, so you need 2 more to make 4. So 1 here, and then you use 1 to crisscross like this, and then you get 4, right? So the next one, you put the thread closer to your work into the next bead up, put a bead into the thread outside your work, and then use 1 to crisscross. Once you get your first step of color your coloring bead in place, your next step, the moment you get there, you will know which time to put which color. Okay, mostly it's the base that is an issue. So if you get the base out of the way, once you're working sideways and then you get there, you know when to put which color. So that isn't going to be an issue at all, I suppose, right? I'm really sorry, guys. My explanation isn't helping. Maybe I should just do subtitles. What do you think? So I haven't made a tutorial in a very long time, and then I'm mostly in my room, so I barely talk to people. So trying to explain this is becoming a little bit tougher than I thought it would be, and I'm so sorry for that. I'll try to do much better. I'll actually do a detailed tutorial. Yeah, I'll do it. I'll do a detailed tutorial on how to do the 4 bead flower, just so you don't find yourself once in this time, so that we don't have to slow our videos down, when we're doing another tutorial. So I'll do a detailed tutorial on how to make the 4 bead flower, and then from there we'll start making more tutorials. I think that one will be more beginner friendly than what I'm doing right now. This I thought was beginner friendly, but trying to explain it seems hard, so I guess it's not beginner friendly. So like I said, I'm trying to incorporate all your demands into one video, because I don't have a tripod. I go to work, I close late, so I don't know when next I'll be able to make another tutorial. So I'm trying to please everybody, but make sure everybody finds what they're looking for in the tutorials. So someone demanded for 3 colors, which we're using right now. Someone wants pearl handles, which we'll be using. We'll be fixing a magnetic clamp too. Okay. Now on the turning again. Now we want to come down this way, aren't we? So you see this thread that is on the top, you put 2 beads in it. Instead of putting 1 in each one, put 2 beads in the one on top, and then use 1 to crisscross like this. That's when you're turning, right? Now before you turn, you put 1 in the bead that you usually don't in the thread that you usually don't put a bead in, and then use 1 to crisscross. Now that we're turning, you put 2 in the thread on top, and then use 1 to crisscross like this, and it automatically turns it for you. And then you just continue the process like that. So please remember to subscribe, leave a comment in the comment section, let me know what I need to do next, what I need to fix. And if it's the video quality, I know, and I'm so sorry. I'm trying to do better than this, and then I hope with time it gets better. Please give me a thumbs up if you can, and if it isn't to your liking, please tell me what you think isn't right, and then I'll try as much as I can to fix that. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate that. So as you can see on this lane, I'm just putting the ice beads all the way around. I'm not mixing it with color. That's because a line of ice beads separates the color patterns, okay, on the top, and then sideways 2 lines of ice bead. Okay, sorry about this. So this is me trying to cut off my short thread. My thread got shorter, so I just made a knot with it. Now you have to pass your thread in between beads, pull and hide your knot. Okay, pull, make sure your knot is hidden in between beads, then you cut off your excess thread. This is me showing you how to end when your thread, make sure it doesn't get too short for you to make a knot. Okay, now to join your thread, to join a new thread, just cut the thread as long as you want, as long as you can handle, because like I said, too short, you have to be joining 2 long tangles up. So cut it as long as you can handle. Now where your work ended, remember we're working in 4 beats, right? So the next 2 beats, the first lane and the second lane, right? Each beat from each, 1 beat from each lane, like this, right? So now you have your 2. You're going to join your 2 more beads, so 1 bead in the outer thread, and then you use 1 to crisscross like this, and then you pull. Sorry, like I said, tangling up if it's too long. So automatically our thread is joined like that, right? I think using ice beads wasn't the best idea. Okay, so I'll get black beads and then I'll do another tutorial. I think black would be much clearer since the bead is ice and the thread is ice. It's not helping at all. I just realized that. So I just kind of made this place fast because the video will be too long if I don't. I feel like the major problem with this is actually knowing how to do the 4 bead flower process, right? So we're going to do a tutorial on that. So besides making a tutorial on the 4 bead flower process, is there any other tutorial you would like me to do? I was thinking another bag, maybe sandals, or bottle, a designed bottle like the one I kept on my work. What do you guys think? What should we do next? Remember, pull your thread hard, make sure your work is very firm. So I went ahead and did the rest off camera just so we could save time. So this is it. Now I'm going to fold the first line on each side of it. Okay, it's sugar beads. It's very easy to turn. You just have to hold it and fold. So this is it. You fold it and then you get this way. Now we're going to work on the down part of it. Okay, so again you have to cut a thread and then join the first bead, so the down line and then the sideways. So you put your thread through both like this. Sorry. So already that's 2 beads you have, so all you need to join is 2 more to get your 4, right? So you put 1 on the thread that is in the top bead. In the thread that is in the top bead, and then you use 1 to crisscross like this. So you get something like this. So you put your thread that is down to the bead down, the next bead down like this, and then you put 1 in the outer thread like this. Use 1 to crisscross like that. So you're going to be doing just this. You're going to do this until the end of it, okay? Sorry, it's refusing to stand. I actually wanted you guys to be seeing that part, but I can't make it stand, so I'm sorry. Okay, so now all we did is 1 more bead, so we use 1 bead to crisscross like this, and then the down is also done. Okay, so this is it. This is exactly the size of what I made off camera. So now we're just going to join those 2 together. I could have just used the thread that is on it to just join them, but for your sake I'm going to end it and then cut off my excess threads. So this is me trying to cut off my excess threads. So I'll pass it through a couple of beads, make a knot with both beads, pass it through a bead to hide my knot, and then I'll cut off my excess thread. Yes, for your sake I need to cut off the excess thread. Whenever you make a knot, make sure you pass your thread through a couple of beads to hide your knot before you cut off your excess thread. So now we're going to be joining the sides. So you cut your thread, put 1 bead in it, okay? Put 1 bead in it. Okay, so that's your base. You need 4, right? So now you're going to put each tip of the thread, each side of it, into each side of the wax. Okay, there are 2, right? So you put 1 side of the thread through this one and then put another side through the other one. So this one goes through this and the other side goes through this, right? So now that's 3. You use one, you pick another bead and crisscross this way. Now you have 4. Sorry, you have 4, so automatically it's joined, right? So the thread goes to this thread goes through the side of the bag like that, and the other thread goes through the other side of the other bag. Hey, it's in the same bag. Okay, so yeah, and then you use one, pick one bead to crisscross, and then automatically you're joining them together. Now the bead you use to crisscross becomes your base, becomes one bead for the next 4 bead, right? Okay, so you've used to crisscross, now you have 4. Now what you use to crisscross becomes the first bead for the next 4. So this thread goes through the other side, this tip of the thread goes through the other side again. Now that's 3. Okay, so you use one bead more to crisscross, making it another 4, therefore joining it together. Now what you just used to crisscross is 1. See, the thread goes through this one, that's 2 beads. This side of the thread goes through this one like this, and that's 3 beads. And you're working with what? 4. So you pick another bead and use it to crisscross, therefore making it 4. Now the thread is already in that, so you just do the same process all the way around. Sorry, did that off camera. So you do the same process all the way around to the top. Okay, so for the sake of time I just did it off camera, and then this is what it looks like. Now we're going to do the top, the cover. What do they call that? Yeah, the cover. So you cut your thread, put it on the first bead on top. It doesn't matter where you start from, actually, which side you decide to start. Just make sure you start at the width. Okay, so I'm deciding to use the blue for the cover. So I already have 1 bead, so all I'm adding is 3 beads, so 2, and then you use 1 to crisscross, and then you get this. So the one I used to crisscross is already 1. Now the thread goes through the 1 eyes, and then all I need is 2 more blue, so 1 in the other side of the bead and then 1 to crisscross, and then I get this. What I used to crisscross is already my base. The thread goes through this one, that's 1, making it 2. Another bead goes through the other side of the thread, making it 3, and then I use 1 to crisscross, making it 4. So at the end of the day, throughout the work, and it's going to be 4 bead, 4 bead, 4 bead, 4 bead. Like that. So this one goes through this side, making it 2. This one goes through this side, and then use 1 to crisscross, making it 4, like this. 2. So 1, and then 1 to crisscross, making it 4. What you use to crisscross is your base now. Now the thread goes through the eyes, making it 2. You use 1 blue to the other side, 1 blue to crisscross, and then you get 4. So you're just going to do that to the end of it. Now once again we're going to turn. So you turn, so the thread that is not closer to your work, you put 2 beads in it. Okay, so 1, 2, and then use 1 to crisscross. Already you get 4, and then your work turns for you. Put your thread in the bead closest to the 4 bead you just made. Put 1 in the outer thread, use 1 to crisscross like this, and then you get another 4. So you're going to continue with the same process. Okay, okay, so another row has ended. Try breaking it down, and then you see that it's already covering half of it. So I went ahead and did the remaining 4. So you're going to do 4 rows. I went ahead and did the remaining 4 off camera. So now pushing it down, like I said, it's sugar beads. You just need to give it a little push and it will be down. So now it's covered. We'll have to make the tip where we'll hang our magnetic clamp on, and for that we'll need to make the triangular shape, right? So I'm going to make another row, and then from this other row we're going to make a triangular shape. So make the other row. I'm just going to keep quiet. Now you can decide to make the cover a complete square throughout, okay? Or you can decide to make it the tip a triangular shape. No, that's not triangle, right angle. No, it's a triangle. Okay, so you can just make it this way, or you can decide to shape the tip of it. So if you want to shape the tip of it, you have to remember that your first and your last bead, you must always leave them out. Okay, so I need my thread to be in the second bead on the row, this one. Okay, so this is where I have to start from, and then getting to the end, you have to leave the last bead out. And you remember, you still turn it the same way. Once you turn it, it's still the same way. Okay, so you see how the tip has gone? That is what we're targeting at. Okay. Okay, remember, first and last beads out. Okay, to get this shape we're looking for, you need to leave your first and last bead out. Now this is what we're going to get. Let me cut off this accessory. See how it's shaped. Now I'm going to leave the first and last bead out again. So I'm leaving the first one out here as I start another row, and then when I get to the last bead, I'll leave that one out too. See how the top is? That is the aim. Okay, the aim is to make it shaped that way. So here again, we'll leave the last bead out here. So I'm just going to make my knot, try and cut off my excess thread, and then I'm done. Okay, to cut, you just fold it from the row you started from, sorry, this way, and then when you fold this side too. This is what you should get. So let me cut off my excess thread, and then we'll try fixing our magnetic clamp. So this is what I got. I didn't get a big one. This is what I got. And this small one, it's smaller than this beads. With this one, if it's 5mm beads, you could just push it like this. Okay, and then close it. You could just push it like this in, and then push this ones down. But because it's smaller than these beads, we can't do that. So we're going to push the holders down like this. You could just use your hands. Okay, so push them down like this on both sides. Push them down. Remember, this size, if it's 5mm beads, you can just put them directly and then push them at the back of the bag. But this one is smaller than the beads, so it can hold. So we're going to straighten your side. Sorry, we're going to be stitching it like with a needle. So I'm using 3mm thread in a needle, and then we're going to stitch the magnetic clamp through beads. Okay, so make your knot on your thread, cut off your excess, and then make a knot in between beads. Okay, this is where we'll be stitching it. So I'm going to make my knots by joining the needle there in between two beads like this, and then I'll make a knot like that. So my needle is joined to my work like this. Now I'm going to stitch the magnetic clamp to it. So you'll be passing your needle through the folds you made with the holders. Okay, so you pass your needle through the holders, come and pass it through beads like this. Pass it through the holders like that, and then pass it through beads. Okay, as I was editing this side, I didn't realize it was really this fast. I'm sorry about that. I wanted to actually make this side very slow so that you guys will see, since a lot of you guys wanted to see that part. I'll make another one, I promise. So basically, you just pass your needle through the bead, and then pass it through the folds behind the magnetic clamp, pass it through a bead, and then pass it through the folds again, pass it through the closest bead, just passing it through different beads below the magnetic clamp. Okay, just to make sure it holds firm. And then once it's firm enough, sorry, it's kind of cut off my thread. Once it's firm enough, just make a knot, couple of knots, and then hide your knots in between beads, and then cut off your excess thread. Please, I said once it's firm enough. So we're going to do this other side. Count 4 from here, 4 from here, right? So the roll is 9, so counting 4 from here, 4 from here, the one in the middle, one roll in the middle, that's what we'll be fixing it. But if yours is not unified where you can just easily divide it, close it and measure where you fixed the first one so that you can just open and then stitch it. So once again, I'm joining my thread and needle to the work in between beads like this, making sure it's firm. Like that. Now pass our needle through the folds, these folds, like this. Okay, and then pass it through a bead. Pass it through the folds again, and then pass the needle through a bead. Pass it through the folds and pass it through a bead. That's basically what you just be doing around. Okay, so it's on top of 4 beads, so you're going to make sure that anytime you pass it through the folds, you pass it through a different bead, making sure that the needle at the end of the day goes through all 4 beads. That will make it firmer. So just do that for a while, make sure it's firm, and then you cut off your excess thread. Always make sure you make a knot, hide your knot before you cut off your excess thread, guys. And this is it. So it's firm enough. This is it. Open, close, open, close. So that is basically it. Now we have to make the handle. So cut off your thread. I'm just going to count 3 beads in. So it's a row of 3 on top. So we'll be working on the middle row. So 3 beads in. I'll put my thread like this, hold both tips together, and then just fill my pearls in it. So I'm holding both tips together and I'm just filling my pearls in it. Initially I tried 10 pearls and then it was too short, so I ended up making it 15 pearls. So 10 pearls was too short. I just added 5 more. And then when you get to the other side, count 3 beads back. So on your 3rd bead, that's where you fix it. Okay, 3. So pass one tip of the thread through the side, and then pass the other tip through the other side of the same bead. Like this. And then pull very hard. Make sure it's very firm. Like this. And now you're going to pass it through a couple of beads, either back or forward, a couple of beads away from it to make sure it's very firm. Then you make a knot, tie your knot, hide it in between beads, and cut off your excess thread, and then we're done, guys. Thank you so much for watching. I appreciate it. Remember to click on subscribe if you haven't. Follow, leave a comment, and like. Thank you, darlings.